Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are tonight's entertainment.
This is the Art Vigil Show.
Art Vigil. Welcome to the Art Vigil Show!
Let's face it, this is not the worst thing you've caught me doing.
Undefeated out loud, baby. Everything is alright, baby. We on the road to riches, and you ain't getting no ride, baby.
What's up? Thanks for Maximus Titan fan and Link. Thank you for joining me today.
Yeah,
How
no
you guys
problem.
doing?
Absolutely, man. Pretty good. How about you?
Good. Yeah.
It's Thursday.
Yeah. We're almost there.
Yeah, one more day, man.
We're getting there. So where do you guys live? Where you guys from?
I live right outside of Knoxville, man.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm actually right over the Tennessee state line between Tennessee and Kentucky. Unfortunately, I do not live in Knoxville. I wish I did. Big Vols fan, but yeah, we're both in the Tennessee area. A lot of followers in Middle Tennessee, East Tennessee. So yeah, good to be here. Good to reach a few more, and we're excited for it. Big excited for it.
Very cool. So is the whiskey really better in Tennessee?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Hands down. Yeah.
What's your favorite whiskey?
Jack Daniels all the way. I mean, you got to stick.
Wow.
You got to stick to the homegrown.
Wow.
I love the sour mash. Being on the state line, I've tried the bourbons in Kentucky. I've tried the whiskeys in Tennessee, and it's not even a competition at this point for me.
Look,
Really?
I'll give you that. It's not a competition between Tennessee and Kentucky because the absolute best whiskey out there is made in Canada. It's Crown Royal.
Mm.
In Canada. So are you enjoying that 25% tariff? I mean,
I was gonna say, man, I'm gonna be a strictly beer guy, I guess, because I'm not paying that damn price. Damn you, Donald Trump!
You're ruining my life. With my whiskey.
Exactly. Yeah, don't mess with
All
my
right.
whiskey, bro.
Yeah, no, you can't. I agree with that. All right, so do you guys grow up in the same area that you live in, or?
Yeah, so I actually grew up about an hour south of here. I was about 30 minutes north of Nashville. That's kind of how I fell in love with the Titans, being that close to Nashville. I tried to make it to as many games as I could, and it just kind of stemmed from that. So yeah, I grew up in the Nashville area. I'm actually a small business owner in the Nashville area, so I'm around a lot. So yeah, it's great. But yeah, been here all my life. Hadn't really done that much traveling. I mean, I've done the Florida stuff and Gulf Shores, Alabama, but I've pretty much spent my whole life kind of right here in this state.
What kind of business do you have?
It's a pool business. So we build
Nice.
in-ground pools, do maintenance on it. So yeah, I've met some pretty interesting people
I bet.
doing that. And yeah, between that, this, and just having a baby, that's I don't have a lot of time left on my plate.
Did you do the Kid Rock pool?
No, I wasn't a part of that one.
Oh.
I've been a part of some country singers. I don't know if I'm allowed to name names, but I've been part of some of the been part of some of the bigger jobs. Pretty cool. A lot of those people really down to earth once you actually get to know them and get face to face with them. So yeah, I've seen some pretty big names, but yeah, I've been fortunate so far.
Very cool, very cool. Maximus Titan fan?
Yeah, man, look, I you could say I grew up everywhere, but really the most time I've spent in my life, because I was born in Indianapolis, I've spent time in Mississippi, Texas, Florida. But the most of my time was spent in a little bitty, well, it's not a little bitty, it's a small town called Cookeville. It's like halfway in between Nashville and Knoxville. That's where I was raised, basically. And then I met my wife at the college in Cookeville, which is Tennessee Tech. And she kind of drugged me back home with her. And that's why I live outside of Knoxville now. So there you go.
Very cool. So how did you guys become Titan fans?
Yeah,
well, that was easy for me.
Go ahead.
Whoa. Okay, let me take a step back. Were you Oilers fans, or when they moved there, you became Titans fans?
That is a better question, and I can answer that real quick. No, I was not an Oilers
I'll
fan.
take a sip while you.
What? I've always been a football fan. Ever since I was a little kid who wanted to get his aggression out, I was angry little kid. And when I found out that it was cool, not only cool, but people would celebrate the fact that you could blow somebody up on the football field, I fell in love immediately. So my favorite team when I was a kid, I love physicality, so I went towards the Bills. Similar color scheme, similar play actually for the last 20 years. But anyway, I always said if Tennessee ever got a pro team, that I would immediately switch my fan base and forever be a Titan. And it happened, and then I was a little weird about it for a year or two. But then once we went to the Super Bowl and the Music City Miracle and all that stuff happened all in the same year, that was it. I was cemented.
Nice. Link?
Yeah, so I was born in '94. The team came here in '99. So I was pretty much a Titans fan from the start. Now I will say, just to gain a few haters, being that big Vols fan, I was pretty much the guy I looked up to. My all-time favorite was Peyton Manning. Just coming out of Knoxville, going to the Colts. So there was a little bit of a rivalry there for a while, if you want to call it that.
Right.
But yeah, other than having him and kind of growing up watching Peyton Manning and what he was able to do, I was for the home team. The Super Bowl '99. I mean, that was really one of the first games I can remember, and I don't even remember all that much. So yeah, it kind of started from birth, I guess. And then once they were here, I was 4 years old and kind of took off from there.
So you probably weren't old enough for the Tennessee Rams game. Oh no, you're close here. You were probably like 7.
Yeah, I was. I remember it. Yeah, I mean, I don't remember a whole lot from that early, but yeah, it was something that stuck with me. And look, my dad, my uncle, they were always huge football fans. They played in high school. My uncle played in college, so
Nice.
That kind of hit home for me because a lot of the memories I have with them was watching football, and a lot of that was Titans. So yeah, just kind of stemmed from an early age and kept going.
So we have breaking news from the NFL Honors, which I believe is on ESPN. Shocker, Jaden Daniels. What do you think he won, guys?
I'd say Rookie of the Year if I had to guess.
Rookie of the Year?
Yeah. Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shocker.
I mean, what other options did you really have? I mean, the guy came in completely kind of changed the narrative for starters, first-time starters. I mean, this guy is what Tennessee is hoping they get if they take a quarterback first overall.
Oh, don't get too fast. We're going to talk about that. Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. I don't know. Bowers for the tight end for the Raiders. He broke every record, but honestly, everybody knows it's a quarterback.
Absolutely.
Quarterback-driven league, man.
Well, of course, yeah. Wait, more news. Defensive Player of the Year, Patrick Surtain II.
Okay.
This is breaking news right now.
Absolutely.
Y'all got to get on this and follow us. All right. So for football, you're Tennessee Titan fans.
Mhm.
What other teams do you guys like? Other like baseball, if you like hockey, or you're a Predator fan?
Yes.
Yeah, so I'll say for me,
Way to go, Maximus.
Yeah,
Yes.
for me, obviously college. I mean, the Vols. I talked about that.
Yeah.
Hockey. I'm rooting for the home teams, the Preds. Love going to hockey games. If people out there have never been to a hockey game, even if you know nothing about hockey, that is
Yeah, it's
the
the
most
best.
electric environments in all of professional
It's fun.
sports. Absolutely. Baseball wise, kind of a Braves fan just because they were the closest team. Super excited if Nashville does get that expansion team. That's definitely going to be something to watch. And then shout out, on the subject, shout out WNBA. Hopefully they approve this Tennessee Summit women's basketball team. I think that could be a huge thing for Nashville. So yeah, I mean, pretty much just local for me. There's nobody really outside of Tennessee other than the Braves that I root for professionally.
Maximus?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, man. I like football. It's more
And
football. Yeah, and I don't even care what league, what brand, what age group. I coach the Pee-wees. I just love football, man. There's even a
Gotcha.
Nashville football, women's football team. I don't know if you know about that, but if you
Oh, I
don't
didn't know
about
about
them,
that. They have a women's.
get over on. Yeah, if you're on TikTok, man, you got to follow the Nashville women's football team. They are awesome.
Is it a is it a flag football team or is it actual shoulder pads?
No,
Let's
they
go.
are hardcore, son. Like they are hard. There
Really?
was one, yeah. There's one video in particular. If you're gonna go check them out, you got to look for the video where they're doing the fireman drill with their sons in high school.
Oh, I did see that. Yeah, I did.
Them chicks
killing
were
them.
ruthless,
they're-
son. They were laying them out.
But how old were the kids? 8, 10?
No. That's not the video I'm talking
I
about.
I want to see. Oh, okay. There's a different video. Okay.
No, these kids were in high school. Yeah, they're high school football players, and they were getting
Oh.
laid out by their moms. Now there was one that stood his own,
That
but
ain't good.
I mean,
That's not good.
well, I don't know. You ain't seen these moms, dude. I mean, I'm just saying. Shout out to the Nashville women's football.
I mean, to be fair though, if I'm a high school football player, it's kind of a lose-lose situation. Like either I'm getting
Right.
laid out by my mom, or I'm putting her in the
Gonna
dirt.
lay
So
your
it's like
mama
there's
out,
really
then, yeah,
not a
it's-
good way to
yeah.
go about that drill. If I'm a high school,
Not really.
football
Yeah, that's just me.
I think I would try to fake her, like go this way and then
Yeah,
go
there you go.
sideways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now
Yeah.
other sports, man, really the only other sport, I guess mainstream sport that I watch is I do watch hockey, and I do enjoy the Nashville Predators. I did not watch them much before Taylor Lewan and his famous beer drinking crazy. That is what sprang my interest in them, and they also came to a couple Titans games while that was going on. And man, anybody that supports the Titans, I'm going to try to support them. And then, I mean, actually, hockey's pretty fun to watch. I don't know.
No, it's awesome. I love. I'm a Sharks fan. I'm from California. I'm in Northern California, the nice part, not the San Francisco part, but the nice part. Let's see. So, how do you guys get into podcasting?
Yeah, for me it was simple. Maximus, he had this channel. He was growing it, kind of building it, and one day I get on and he's looking for a co-host, and I respond to it, and the rest is kind of history for me. But I'll let Max tell kind of how he's grown this channel from the start, because he's kind of been the brains and the workhorse behind the operation, and I'll let him kind of tell that.
With a name like Maximus, he's got to be right.
Gotta be.
Gotta be.
Well, I will say, if nothing else, I am persistent. One of my buddies said recently, the only difference between a loser and a winner is, let me rephrase that. A winner is nothing but a loser that tried harder.
Right.
And I thought that was a really good saying, man. Just don't give up. Just keep going. And that's, at first it started off as a joke. Really, it started off as a joke. My wife got tired of me talking about football to her, and she was like, man, just put it out on Facebook, And then once my videos kind of started taking off on my personal page, she was like, look, I don't really like the idea of, people seeing, my baby pictures and where you live and all this crap, and I was like, all right, whatever, sure. So I made this persona of Maximus Titan fan. Nice. And then it kind of turned into the podcast. And the podcast, really, I was approached by somebody else, a network that wanted me on. I'm not going to name them because it didn't end very nicely. And then, once I got away from them and became independent, I started paying a lot more. But the nice thing about it is I get to control everything. I get to say, what I want to do. And I've been through 2 co-hosts. Let me rephrase that. Link is my 3rd co-host. I don't say I've been through 3 co-hosts because Link is here. He's a rock. He is my rock. I'll be honest with you, man. Link has been better for my show than I could have ever imagined. I have to give him major props. The dude came in like he had been doing it for as long as I have, maybe even longer. Very knowledgeable, just extremely well at what he does, and committed. That's the huge thing, is you got to be committed,
Yes.
And sometimes you get people that are a little just not as committed as you are. And I get that, you know what I mean? I get it. But if I'm going to do this thing and I really want to take it to the next level, then, I need somebody that's ready to ride to the next level. And Link has done that. And yeah, man, it's just been fun. Almost 3 years now. We've been doing this podcast, 2 full seasons of football.
Nice.
That I've been doing it. The Link's been with me for like a season and a half. And like I said, man, I can't give the dude enough props, man. I absolutely love Link.
That's awesome. That's great. So in between Link and your other non-consistent losers, they're probably not watching. Were you doing it solo?
Yes.
Okay, that's cool.
Yes, I did do. I started off solo shows, and then I got a co-host, and then that co-host kind of, I'm not gonna say flaked on me, but had some issues, and then I had to continue on by myself for a while.
Gotcha.
Until and I like having a co-host because it makes for fun. You kind of bounce ideas off of them and stuff like that. And throughout the season, you kind of need that because the season is really just a grind of a couple shows of, get this out, this information out. What's the next game? How do we do in this game? That's really all it is. But in the off season, it's a lot different. We do other people's shows. We talk about whatever we want and stuff like that. So it's kind of a molding thing that constantly changes or whatever. But
yeah, and I'll say too, one of the great things about our show, not to give us just all these shout outs or anything, but one of the great things about our show is a lot of times we don't agree on stuff when it comes to this team. And we're able to kind of state our point, still get along. We're not the shaded and sharp or anything like that. I mean, we have our own ideas. We have our own ways that we want to see this team move forward. They don't always line up. So you're getting 2 sides to the story when you tune in. And that just makes having that other guy to play off of just that much better.
Well, that's a great transition to the next question. All right. So the Titans didn't do well last year.
Not at all.
Is that a nice way to? Is that a really nice way to put it?
I mean,
that is extremely nice.
I'm a Dalton fan, so lots of heartache.
Fair enough.
So,
yeah.
I understand pain.
Yeah.
You guys have the number 1 pick. What do you think they're going to do? Are they going to get Cam Ward? Are they going to trade back and get more picks and stay with Mayonnaise Boy? That's what I call him. I call him Mayonnaise Boy because he does that mayonnaise commercial. I'm like, what are you doing?
We had an over-under on the show every week in the pregame. We had an over-under on the mayonnaise commercials. So trust me, it's the same vibes over here in Tennessee. Yeah. We don't love it either.
Yeah. No. I don't want to see the gun show. I don't want to see him doing this. Mayonnaise. He puts it in his coffee. What are you doing?
I tried it. I honestly tried it.
Did you really?
Disgusting.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
I did it as like an internet gag. Really, it was clickbaity crap. I'm almost disappointed I did it, but I tried it and it was gross. It was very gross.
Yeah, and I'll say,
hold on. What? I'm sorry.
No.
What kind of mayonnaise? Best Foods or?
I'll be honest with you, man. I do eat mayonnaise, but only in like tuna salad. So I get the little bitty. I mean, they're almost like an ounce jar or some stupid crap. And my wife just grabs whatever's cheap. But I tell her, give me a name brand. Don't come home with none of that best value shit. But yeah, I think it was Duke's at that point. I tried it. I think it was Duke's mayonnaise, which is supposed to be the real Southern mayonnaise anyway. So, I mean,
That's funny. All right. So what do you think they're going to do?
Yeah, so at this point, I don't think the Titans know what they're going to do. I mean, that's the first thing I take away from it. I honestly don't think that they've even come close to making a decision. Obviously, they had some work with Shadur Sanders at the Shrine Bowl, had some assistants there working with him. As far as my knowledge, they haven't even met with Cam Ward yet. They haven't even been in the same room with him. Now, obviously, there's a lot of time to go between, combine and interviews and things like that. I think listening from them talk, I think they feel it's in their best interest to probably move back, but that's me reading between the lines.
Right.
As you know, up before these drafts, there's going to be a lot of smoke and mirrors. They're going to
Always,
talk
yeah.
about taking these quarterbacks. So somebody like New York gets on the phone and wants to come get their guy. But honestly, I think that's kind of the ideal situation if it were me in those rooms.
Yes.
I think if you can get back to that number 3, get the Giants to make a switch, then go get a guy like Travis Hunter, you still get a good player, you fill a position. But let's be honest, the Titans aren't one player away. This isn't a quarterback solves everything. It's not a receiver solves everything. So the more draft capital you can get, the more picks you can get, even in the later rounds. It may not be the best quarterback draft, but it's pretty deep when it comes to these players. So, I think moving back, trying to get some of that draft capital is probably in their best interest right now.
Maximus, Titan fan? It sounds so weird to say it. I'm gonna call you Max, dude. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you can just call me Max, man.
Right
It's cool. Yeah, it's a lot. But yeah, no, I very much echo the same sentiment. I really feel like it depends on how much interest they have at the pick. If they feel like they can trade down, I feel like especially if they get the right deal, they will. Right. And if they can't, then I honestly feel like they're going to take Cam Ward. Maybe that's my own bias because that's who I would take. But I also think like you said, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors in the draft process. Everybody talks about, but the fact that they're focusing so hard on Shadur Sanders, because I think that is the glamorous pick, I guess, the more glamorous pick. So I think they're focusing hard on Shadur Sanders, and because they are focusing so hard on Shadur, I think it's the Kansas City shuffle. They're saying, look over here, but we're really looking over here.
Gotcha. So if they traded it, what do you think the draft capital would be? You had a first round next year, or second round, a couple third round picks?
I mean, for me, obviously, in an ideal situation, you'd like to get a first next year. I think that would be kind of on the board for number, because if you look, even if you get that bridge quarterback this year, if you look at the draft next year, there's going to be a lot of bigger names come out at quarterback. And I know that said every year, well, next year is going to be better when it comes to this, but I truly think that. I think there's going to be a little bit more talent next year at the quarterback position. So obviously, a number 1 next year would be best for me. But if it is a situation where, hey, it's, we might send a player, get you a third. I mean, I think you still have to keep those options on the table because this is a pretty deep draft. And like I said, you have a lot of needs at a lot of different positions. And your first order of business needs to be filling as many of those holes as you can. So even if it's a second or third round pick this year, I think it's still something that's on the table.
Very cool. Max?
Yeah, I don't disagree with that, but I think honestly, if the Titans are going to trade back, they're going to need at least a first round next year. And then I feel like you need to bolster this year as well. At least a third round pick. I don't see anything less than a first next year and a third round pick this year. Really, it should be a first, second, and third.
Right. But for the number 1 pick, at least.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I mean, some of these scenarios, you're only trading back 1 or 2 spots with the Browns or Giants, and that is ideal for me because if you can trade back with that's the point. If you can trade back in one of the 3 slots, you're either going to get one of the 2 quarterbacks or Abdul Carter or whoever else you think is the top guy.
Right.
So I don't feel like that's a lose situation at all. And I really feel like we have so many places to fill that we need as many picks as we can possibly get.
Well, that's good because you guys have almost $50 million in cap space. I think it's 49 point below whatever.
Yeah, it's 50.
So where do you think, what are the needs in free agency?
Yeah, no, I think it does start Look, I'm a huge proponent. Even if you bring in a young quarterback, I still think you need that veteran presence. I still think you
Right.
need, because Callahan, he's going into his second year. It already feels like he might be on the hot seat if he doesn't start winning early. What you
agree with
don't
that.
want to do is bring in a young quarterback, tie that to this head coach, and then be in the same situation next year where you're bringing in another head coach who now feels tied to this quarterback. So
Yes.
no matter what, I think you have to at least shop around in free agency at the quarterback position. And then the next one for me would be, I think you need to go look for a receiver. Somebody like a T. Higgins. You need another guy in there. We talk a lot on our show about Calvin Ridley and the expectations. I don't feel like he can be a pure number one on this team
Nope.
as it stands right now. So you've got to find another receiver, and then offensive line would be the third one. You can fill that to a point in the draft. We've seen them hit on, or at least we think that they're going to hit to this point with J.C. Latham. But you still have issues on that right side of the line. And I don't know that there's a lot of rookies coming in that would be able to fill that immediately, just looking at what's out there. So if you can fix that in free agency and kind of solve that up, that frees up the potential with what you're able to do in the draft.
So you're saying all offense, nothing on the defense.
There's definitely holes on the defense, but I think we've had some pretty bright spots with the rookies coming in from, or I guess they'll be second years players now.
Right.
Had a lot of guys step up on the defensive side of the ball. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely areas where you're looking to improve. Safety, linebacker are the two that really point out to me the most. But I mean, your front looks pretty good. Obviously, you need an edge rusher. That's something I'd be looking at in free agency. But I mean, in the secondary, you've got these guys returning, Snead, Awuzie, you paid these guys to be the stars on the team. And, going into next year, I feel like you have to give them another opportunity to, kind of get over that injury. They kind of left a bad taste in people's mouth toward the end of the year, but you paid these guys money for a reason. They were some of the best when they were doing it. So yeah, I mean, there's some spots you want to get better on defense, but if you can't score points, it's really not going to matter, because we saw the defense hold up time and time again this year, and the offense couldn't get over that 17-point hump. So you've got to find ways to get in the end zone.
Makes sense. Matt?
Yeah, man, I don't disagree with anything he said, but to be honest, if I'm spending my money, the first thing, or the first two players I'm going after is Sweat and Riddick. I don't know, maybe it's a pipe dream of mine, but I'd love to see the Sweat brothers on the same team. Same D-line, that'd be kind of fun, I think, personally. I'd rather have Hassan Riddick. If not, I understand he's going to garner a good chunk of change probably this
got $49 million.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I don't know if we quite want to, dole out that much money. It seems like a little bit much for a guy that's producing what he is, but I don't want another Harold Landry situation going on, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But I do like Sweat. I really feel like he's a good one. There's a tackle. I can't think of his name right now, but he's coming out of Kansas City. That's
The
one
Chiefs?
I would definitely. Yes. It's one I would. Come on now.
Well, it's not Jones, obviously.
Trying to. No, it's the right tackle. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, you mean offense? I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, offensive line. Yes, sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah. Either. Definitely go after edge hard. We talked recently, or I talked recently about safety being a major need on our team. We only have one on contract for next year, Amani Hooker, who is also turning 30 next year, and he's seemed to have lost a step. So that is a huge need that people aren't really looking at with the Titans. So I feel like that and edge, and if you can get one offensive lineman in free agency, fantastic. If not, it's going to be a lot of building through the draft.
Well, Javon Holland, for the Dolphins is available. I wouldn't pay him the money he wants. He's a good player. He's not consistent, but he is a safety that is available in free agent this year. Good.
Yeah, it's like Nick Westbrook-Akine, man. He's going to get paid way more than he's worth. I love Nick Westbrook-Akine. I would love if he stayed on the Titans, but he caught 9 touchdowns this year and kind of showed up as a red zone target. And I feel like he's going to get a bigger contract than I would want to pay him.
Yes, I agree with that. Agree. It'll probably be the Raiders.
Yeah.
Probably.
All right, so we have something in common. As I mentioned, I'm a Dalton fan. You guys are Titan fans, and I had Ryan Tannehill, and you guys had Ryan Tannehill.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of Ryan? I mean, he made $194 million in career earnings. Can you believe that?
Yeah, I mean, look,
Yeah.
I've still got love for the guy. I mean, honestly, there's an argument to be made when you look at the Titans organization as a whole. I mean, there's Steve McNair, and then you've never had over 4,000 yard passer. You've never had that in Tennessee. So yeah, I mean, you look at Ron Tannehill. He may be the second or third quarterback that suited up for the Titans when it comes. I mean, let's be honest, and
That is fair.
he got him to an AFC championship. Obviously, everybody remembers the Bengals game. Wasn't his best outing. Put him in therapy. Like he struggled after that, but he got him there. And you know, there were times where I could have told you that I absolutely hated the guy, but now you've gone through this experience with the Malik Willis and the Will Levis, and you're like, man, if we just had somebody like a Ron Tannehill, we probably win these games and maybe get to the playoffs this year. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of that hindsight's 2020. I mean, there were times where he wasn't my favorite, but looking back on it, I think he did some great things for this team. He kind of kept that window open for him, got him to that AFC championship game. And yeah, nothing but love for him. I mean, he's sitting on a beach right now spearfishing. So, you know, he's still out there. I mean, would it be the worst thing in the world if you told me we were getting Ryan Tannehill next year? If he hadn't have missed a year? I mean, it wouldn't be the most terrible thing with coming
I'll be honest, I would
last year.
I would be.
So you would embrace him back just for one more year.
Absolutely.
If you got
Honestly,
if you got Cam or Sanders, you'd be like, let's bring in Ryan Tannehill just for this year, or at least for the first 7-8 games.
No.
At this point with Will Levis, I would bring Marcus Mariota back. I mean, I'm not kidding.
Yeah,
like
okay.
I've got to that point where I was out on Will Levis before most people were. I didn't think, the first time he was benched, I didn't think you could put him back in. So yeah, I honestly, I'm not scared to give anybody a second chance at this point, as long as it's not Will Levis.
No.
Would you take Cousins?
No. Oh,
would you take Cousins?
No. Hell no.
What are my other options?
A whole year of not his Achilles. I think that was most of the problems.
I think so too.
Atlanta. He shouldn't have come back so soon. But
see, this is the Titans' issues right here. I'm the head coach, or Link is the GM, or vice versa, because you're over here saying that you would take Ryan Tannehill back, and I'm over here saying I would rather slam my weenie in a sliding glass door than watch Ryan Tannehill take one more fucking snap for the Titans.
It sounds like you're still bitter about the 3 interceptions against the Bengals.
Dude, I'm not bitter about it. All right. Like, there's a reason that we let Mayonnaise Willie become the Titans starting quarterback unquestioned last season.
Mayonnaise Willie, I like that.
And that's because Mayonnaise Willie. And that's because Tannehill, Tannehill, whatever you want to call it, couldn't get over that hump. Whatever demons that the Bengals created in that game, he could not get over him. He had happy feet. He was running around. I don't know if you ever seen, what is that movie called? Any Given Sunday. You ever seen Any Given Sunday? Yeah, they talk about the old quarterback before Steaming Willie Beam, whatever Dennis Quaid. Dennis Quaid. They're talking about him. Oh, he's got happy feet. He can't see the field anymore because he's too worried about getting hit. It was the same thing with Tannehill. He was too worried about getting hit, and it cost a lot of bad games. I mean, it cost a lot of bad play. And then they looked to, like I said, Mayonnaise Willie, and they were like, hey, that's a good option.
Yeah, it was until he started doing the same things, until he got the happy feet and he was scared of taking hits and he lost his timing and he couldn't get over the hump. So for me, your common denominator there is the offensive line. I mean, this has been coming since John Robinson was the GM. I mean, when you don't build an offensive line through the draft, when you miss on guys like Isaiah Wilson as a first-round pick, you're going to be left with holes there. And it really doesn't matter what quarterback you throw into that situation. It's going to be hard for them to succeed. So for me, what I look at is the reason I say anybody but Will Levis is because what we saw this season was not only him make those mistakes, but make those mistakes over and over and over and over and not be able to learn from them and do something differently. So when it comes to that aspect, that's why I think any veteran, whether it's I mean, Mariota's a veteran at this point, whether it's Aaron Rodgers, whether it's Kirk Cousins, whether it's Matt Stafford,
Derek Carr,
you have to get a proven guy, because if you look at Callahan's track record, everybody wants to point to the fact that, oh, look at these quarterbacks he worked with, look how he developed them, look at the offenses he was in. But if you look at that, you have Derek Carr, you have Peyton Manning, you have these guys that were already established when they got to Callahan. So I haven't seen the ability to develop guys to this point, especially at that quarterback position. And that's why I think you have to go with a veteran. He has to tie himself to somebody who knows how to win, who's been in these situations, who's brought teams from the depths, because that's the only way that he's here next year.
Thanks. So Marcus Mariota's out because he never won anything. I'm just saying.
That's fair. No, that's fair. But
that's fair.
But I will say when Marcus Mariota, when he got to Tennessee and we were running, I think it was called Exotic Smash Mouth at the time, I don't feel like as a franchise you've put these guys in the best positions to win. And that's going back to Vince Young. I mean, you've never really been able as a franchise to put quarterbacks in positions to succeed, positions to win. And then you see these guys go to other offensive-minded places and have some success. I mean, even Mariota had some successes toward the ends of the season. You look at Malik Willis. I mean, he gets over to Green Bay. They make him look like a comparable starting quarterback. So for me, it's just about putting guys in the best situations, and I'm hoping this new coaching staff can do that. I just haven't seen the proof yet with what we just saw from Will Levis. So I think you have to bring somebody else in. You have to see if, like last year, we kept saying this year is about finding out if Will Levis is the guy. Now this year becomes finding out if these coaching staff people are the guy. And I hate that, but you're still fixing something that was broken years ago, and it's going to take some time to put it back together.
So how much do you guys miss Arthur Smith, the FedEx?
I mean, as an offensive
child, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, as an offensive coordinator, I thought he was one of the best Tennessee's had in a long time. I mean,
he made Tannehill look really good.
He did. I mean, he found ways to put, and look, that's under Mike Vrabel, who we all know is a defensive minded coach anyway. So when you look at that offense, I give 99% of that credit to Arthur Smith. He found a way to take the guys that were on the field and found ways to win ball games with them. And that's all I can ask for. I mean, so yeah, as a play caller, as an offensive coordinator, I would love to see him back in Tennessee given the opportunity.
Well, he also had Derrick Henry, so
it helps. It helps.
So how much do you guys miss him? And one more question.
Don't bring it up.
How mad are you?
Don't bring it up.
Your general manager and team.
Oh,
president, CEO, owner, governor, whatever they call him now, that they allowed him to go to the Ravens.
I thought you were going to bring up the comment that we got earlier today from what is her name? Rossini.
Oh yes, I saw that. I didn't want to be that mean.
Man, I'll be honest.
Together, so I want to be nice.
I saw that like an hour before I got on here, and I threw up a little bit in my mouth. Yeah, I threw up a little bit in my mouth when I saw that. Wants to retire.
Oh, I saw that tweet too. I saw that.
Yeah, and somebody was, one other guy was like, I don't understand. Why are you upset? You shouldn't have let him go in the first place. And that's what my wife says all the time. I'm constantly reminded by her that we should have never got rid of Henry. But anyway, and I'm like, man, that's bullshit. It's a normal thing for Titan or for any football player that spends a lot of time with one football team and ends their career somewhere else, 1 or 2, 3, maybe years at another ball club.
Right.
They sign a one-day contract with their original team so that they can retire with their original team. So the fact that he made those statements just means that he's just done with the Titans, and that's a little upsetting to me.
Well, for me, it sucks, but I understand it from a point like, why come back and retire as a Titan when the Titans you played with are no longer here? The coach is gone, the GM is gone, most of the players are gone with the roster turnover they've had. So, like, it didn't really surprise me that he wants to retire a Raven. I mean, he's happy there. He's made a lot of good connections. And obviously, the getting rid of Derrick Henry, it hurts. But when I look at it from an organizational standpoint, getting rid of A.J. Brown was the worst decision. I think getting rid of A.J. Brown trumps getting rid of Derrick Henry every day of the week.
Thousandfold.
I mean, again, I said it before. You were kind of set up for failure going back a few years. That kind of started that trajectory, in my opinion. So, I mean, I don't have any ill will towards Derrick Henry. I think for the Titans, it was time to move on. You couldn't just keep pounding the ball the way that you were on the ground with him. If he doesn't go to the Ravens and he stays with Tennessee, I don't think he has this type of a season. I don't think he has as much success because this team was no longer built for that. I mean, you look at the Ravens, the dual threat Lamar Jackson. They have talented receivers. They can keep defenses on their toes. That's not Tennessee. Tennessee was ground and pound. You knew they were coming at you. Defenses were going to stack the box every time because if you took away Derrick Henry, they didn't have a lot else. So I think it was beneficial for both parties to kind of part ways. So no ill will there. But yeah, it still sucks. I mean, he's one of the greatest running backs in the NFL. Absolutely one of the greatest Titans. I mean, you look at him and Eddie George and CJ2K, and then that's pretty much it.
CJ2K is badass.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and you know, it at the end of the day, it is what it is. I still wish him success. I hope he finds a Super Bowl before he retires. As much as I hate the Ravens, I still love Derrick Henry. So it's hard for me to root for him. But I definitely give him his props where they're due.
So do you think he goes into the Hall of Fame, if he makes the Hall of Fame, as a Raven or a Titan?
It'll be as a Raven because it's the Titans. I mean, it's not Kansas City versus Baltimore. I mean, it's Titans versus Baltimore. I mean, look, at the end of the day, the Tennessee Titans is a small market right now. You know, you're getting a new stadium. You're trying to come up in the world. But if he were to go in the Hall of Fame today, I still think he goes in as a Raven.
After playing 1 year with the Ravens.
Let me say, okay, when he retires, I think a lot of it depends. If they win a Super Bowl, hands down, absolutely. He goes into the Hall of Fame as a Ravens. Now, I mean, if you look at Derrick Henry's career, he had the 99-yard run here. He had the 2,000-yard season, and those are definitely milestones. But you throw a Super Bowl in at Baltimore, even an AFC championship in at Baltimore, I think that's really all it takes.
Maximus Titan?
I mean, he had an AFC championship here.
You didn't win it, though.
I mean, he played in it, damn it.
And even then, but even in that season, look, I don't mean to cut you off, but Derrick Henry didn't even have a lot to do with that. If you remember, he was hurt. Yeah. Deontay Foreman comes in. He gets him at that point. That's his first game back. So I don't even put that season on Derrick Henry.
Hold the phone now. Let's not say that didn't have nothing to do with Derrick Henry because he was out almost half the games that season and still was the leading rusher in the NFL like 7 weeks after he was out.
It's a fair point.
He had amassed an amazing amount, and it was right after his 2,000-yard season. Mm-hmm. So he was obviously, if he wouldn't have got injured, he would have obviously eclipsed that 2,000-yard season again and been the first to ever do it back to back with the same team. I mean, and the Titans are the only ones that have two people on that team in the first place. You know, to say that he has nothing to do with this, I get what you're saying because Deontay Foreman did play great that season. There was a lot of AJ, you know, everybody had their part.
Oh yeah.
I'm just saying that to say that he didn't have nothing to do with the season. Now, the fact that he did have something to do with the fact that we lost that game.
Yeah.
because he was a little rusty when he came back in, maybe not fully healed.
Yeah, and it's a little harsh to say it had
Definitely.
nothing to do with it. Obviously, I mean, he was on pace to still break records that year. But I think it was the first time in Titans' minds where they saw another player come on the field and do to an extent what Derrick Henry was doing. He still had the stiff arms, he still had the big runs, and all of a sudden it put that question in Titans fans' minds of, okay, well, when Derrick Henry gets older or when he starts to drop off or if the injuries become a problem, where do we turn then? And that's when this whole new, we've got to become more offensive minded and start airing it out more. That's kind of when that trajectory started. So he definitely had something to do with it. But it was the first time, especially in my mind, where I'm like, okay, you've got to start figuring something else out, though, because Derrick Henry comes back. You still run him into the ground in that game. He probably comes back a little too early. He's rusty. And I mean, it might have had something to do with the outcome. So, but again, no ill will towards him. I hope he finds success. I hope he makes it in the Hall of Fame. Hope he gets a Super Bowl ring. It just sucks that it's on the Ravens.
I'll be on the record. I hope he never gets a Super Bowl ring with the Ravens because I hate the Ravens as a Dolphin fan. Just saying that. But I think he's great. All right. So you guys have, since Jeff Fisher has left, you guys have had what, 5 different head coaches? 4 or 5?
Oh God, no, more than that. I feel like it's been like
4. It's
Malarkey,
Mike Munchuk, Ken Weisenhunt, Mike Malarkey, and Mike Vrabel. So 4.
Damn, that's a lot of mics.
And of course Brian Callahan.
Right.
Yeah. So 5. So I was right the first time. 5.
Yeah.
Who's the best and why?
I'll let you start on that one. I'm about to step on a lot of toes.
So how long? The podcast can't be 8 hours, boys.
Yeah. I'll come out and say it. I don't care. I'll come out and say it. I think when you line those guys up and you look at their different skills and talents, I think Mike Vrabel is probably at the top of that list. Obviously, there's still a lot to figure out about Brian Callahan. I'm not saying right now that Vrabel's better, but look, when you look at, that's not exactly an all-star coaching staff. I mean, let's be real.
It's not.
And when you look at what they were able to do and what they were able to get out of their teams and the success that they had with wins, statistically and by the eye test, Mike Vrabel is the best coach on that list to this point. I mean, he's the only one who got to an AFC championship. He's the only one with multiple playoff runs. He finally got you over that 9-7 hump that you faced every year. So, I mean, just looking at that list, I think you have to say Mike Vrabel. That's not to say he's going to have success at New England or saying I want him back here. But when you line those guys up, I got to go with Vrabes.
I can't do that, man. All right. So, first of all, Mike Vrabel was handed a playoff team. And who was that guy that got him to the playoff team? Mike Malarkey. Now, agreed. Malarkey got fired because he was very loyal to his offensive coordinator, Terry Rabinski. And that is the exact reason he was fired. And that's why Mike Vrabel was hired as the head coach. Now, the reason that I say that Mike Vrabel isn't the best, because obviously he has probably the best record of those people that you named. But the fact that he's been hired by the Patriots, and I believe he retained like 40% of the staff.
That was actually the next question. You got well done. Yes.
So if you
11 out of 27. Yep.
If you tell me that somebody failed at something and then tried to do it the exact same way again, would I think that's smart? No, because homie didn't learn his lesson. I mean, he clearly didn't learn his lesson. His first hire was, goddamn. My point is that Vrabel is not the best head coach simply because he is stuck in his ways and he will never change. And that has been proven to me now that he's on the Patriots head coach and retained, like I said, 40% of the Titans coaching staff, which was one of the reasons he was let go as the coach, was because he was tied to Todd Downing and what was the other idiot's name after he fired Downing? He brought that idiot from the Texans over. Tim something. Anyway, that guy was a moron. Everybody he hired almost was a moron. I mean, there were a couple good hires, but for the most part, they were just a bunch of not very smart players. And it made me wonder about the Jets when they started hiring all our offensive and defensive coordinators. I was like, what the hell is wrong with you guys? Were you not watching
Don't
football?
get me started on the Jets.
My point is
literally could be an 8-hour podcast.
Yeah, my point is that, and I do want to try to wrap up the point, but my point is that Mike Vrabel cannot be my number one choice simply because even after his failure, he has still not learned his lesson and has not learned how to evolve as a coach in this league. That is the difference between a Mike Vrabel and an Andy Reid.
I agree with that. And the only pushback I would give, because I do agree with those statements, I think he's set in his ways. I think it's going to be hard to ever get him to change them. And look, if you ask the Titans front office why Mike Vrabel wasn't successful and held on to these guys, it's because he was stubborn, because he was hard-headed. And if you ask Mike Vrabel, he's going to say it's because he wanted roster control and that these were successful coordinators. He just couldn't do much with the team he had. And, you're going to get that from both ends. But I will say, having that season, I think it was the COVID year where you had the most sick, the most injured players, and still finding ways to get these third string practice squad guys to show up, compete, and still win games. That says a lot about a coach. So when you talk about, a player's coach and a motivator and a guy who's going to get the most out of people, I think Mike Vrabel is very good at that. When it comes to in-game adjustments and the X's and O's and the schemes and the game plans, I think that's where he struggles. And that's why he has to have a good coaching staff around him. And I think we'll learn a lot this year in New England with having the same guys, but being in a different system, being in a different situation, being in the place you want to be. Because let's be honest, even when Mike Vrabel was here, he had a foot in the door at New England. I mean, he's going to the Hall of Fame induction and sitting with Robert Kraft. I mean, he's doing all those things already. So we'll see how it goes this year. I think he's going to have some time there to put together his roster and his staff and do things kind of his way, with Robert Kraft kind of still being in control of all of it. But we'll see. But yeah, I still think, given that list, I think Mike Vrabel's at the top of it for me. I appreciate the disagreement. I definitely see your points. I just think that the inability to adapt has been there for all those guys. And at least with Mike Vrabel, he was able to get the most out of players.
Do you think Drake May is the best quarterback he's coached? Or going to coach, I guess. He hasn't coached him yet, but we have Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah. I can answer that pretty quickly.
I mean, look, I'm not ready to say he's better than Tannehill yet. I mean, I think he still has a lot to prove. I think he has potential. I think his ceiling's extremely high. Now, the real question is, Mike Vrabel, being that defensive-minded coach, can he get the right people in there to develop him? Or are we going to see him hit a wall? So when you look at a pure talent perspective, yeah, probably. But when you look at, proven consistency, I'm not saying Ryan Tannehill is the most consistent, but I mean, I think right now I'm not ready to say Drake May is better than Ryan Tannehill. I don't think I'm at that point yet.
But Drake May had a starting job, and Ryan Tannehill sat on his couch all year.
Yeah,
Tannehill's made $195 million in.
Yeah,
May's made 30. Again, 30 is great. 35 or whatever it is as a rookie contract.
I mean, that's a good point too. Yeah.
But they hire Josh McDaniels as their offensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, maybe he learned, because maybe that's his Arthur Smith.
Could very well be. I mean, I'm not, again, I think you're going to learn a lot this year. I think seeing him in New England and what he's able to do with a young quarterback, he had that experience. Because, look, if you look back at his time at Tennessee, we talked about it on our show. I don't think he thought Will Levis was ready. There were still some rifts there, it seemed like, towards the end of it. I think a lot of that had to do with part of the reason he was let go is because this – ownership believed in Will Levis more than they believed in Mike Vrabel, for better or worse. So yeah, I don't think he ever really got his guy, and I think the jury's still out on whether Drake May is going to be his guy. But again, you're going to learn a lot this year. You're going to learn a lot seeing how he's able to develop.
All right, this is my last Titans question. Why did they trade AJ Brown?
Take it.
I'm sorry, Maximus, Titan fan. You sound like you're like not angry at this, but you're like, oh my God, why did he ask me this question?
I have answered this question about 50 bajillion times in I don't know how many different ways, but basically it boils down to our GM was a dumbass. We had a really bad GM. How you trade a wide receiver superstar for a first round pick and then turn around and draft Treylon Burks is just.
Well, you guys had Robert Brooks too. I mean,
Bobby Trees. Yeah, he was here.
It's just, the point is it's a testament as to why the man lost his job. J-Rob obviously wasn't ready to be a GM of a team.
Right. What's he doing now? Anybody know?
He got a job. No, he got a job.
Oh,
I think he got a job. I do believe he got a second chance.
I knew he was interviewing for a job.
Okay, it may have just been the interview. I'll have to double check that. But I mean, for me, again, I said it earlier. I think that AJ Brown's trade started the trajectory that the Titans have been on, and I think a lot of that's led to why they were so bad this year. I mean, you take a guy who is your number one, who's a superstar, and there were some people who didn't think that he was going to be earning the money that he wanted, which we see now that he was worth every penny of it. But at the time, looking at it, and I'm not defending the decision, I still think it was stupid. I thought it was stupid then. I think it's stupid now. But it's like, okay, you're getting rid of what's going to be a huge contract when you're already tight on cap space, because this was what they thought was their Super Bowl window, which made sense at the time. And we're going to go in the draft. We're going to get a guy on a rookie contract who every comparable metric is that of A.J. Brown. I mean, Treylon Burks was supposed to be the next A.J. Brown for this team, and it just didn't work out. So that's why I say that kind of started you on this trajectory. I disagreed with it. I think it was a stupid move. I think keeping A.J. Brown would have kept that window open a little bit longer, but it would have put you in some tight cap space. I don't know how many more pieces you could have added to this team after that. And if you look at what the Eagles have done and how they built their team through the draft, that's not the Titans. I mean, they've missed on a lot of draft picks. You've had a lot of roster turnover. Again, I don't know if A.J. Brown is as successful here if he stays as he's been in Philadelphia, just because the Titans haven't been able to put those pieces together. So I don't agree with it. I didn't agree with it then. It sucks. But at the end of the day, I look at it like, well, I don't know that it would have changed a lot with where you're at. It definitely made you worse, but I don't know if it could have made you better if you had went the other direction.
Gotcha. Where did they get for him? I don't remember. Did they get a first round pick, second round pick?
That's it. First round pick.
Yep, just a first pick. Yep.
That's it. Okay. That's why John Robinson.
Not like the NBA where you get swaps.
No
swaps.
By the way, I did.
I think the NFL should bring that into it. Get some swap picks. That would be cool.
Yeah, well, and that was my big thing. Like, if you're going to trade him, fine, because, again, you're going to get a guy on a rookie contract, but I think it warranted more than a first. And that was my biggest thing. Like, if I'm going to trade this guy, I'm going to be asking for a ransom. I mean, because that's what he was worth. Now, Philadelphia, I mean, their argument was probably, well, he is going to eat a lot of our cap space too when we have to do that contract. But, yeah, I mean, I didn't understand. I mean, even if you get a first and a third, like anything more than just a first, because you can't put they basically put all their money on Treylon Burks with that. Like, you have to get at least a couple picks so that if you miss on one, you can still say we hit on the other.
Is he still playing?
Who's that?
Brown?
Treylon Burks?
Yeah, Burks, yeah.
He's on IR.
Yeah, he was put on IR towards the end of the season. He's going into his fourth year next year, third or fourth. I'll have to look that up. It's third or fourth, but yeah, he's got a long.
Our backup running back has more touchdowns.
Yeah.
Our backup running back has more receiving yards.
Hey,
Wow.
I'll do you one better. A.J. Brown has more Super Bowl appearances than Traylon Burks has touchdowns in his career. Or no, it's the same amount. Traylon Burks has 1 touchdown, and A.J.
Yeah.
Brown's going to have 1 Super Bowl appearance. So that's where we're at.
Great trade. Great trade. All right. Now that we're talking about trades, at least I brought it up. Best fit for Myles Garrett and Cooper Kupp. Where do you think they're going?
I mean, Myles Garrett's made it very clear that he's only going to a contender, and that obviously limits his options. I wouldn't be shocked to see him somewhere like Washington. I mean, if you look at a team that has the room and has the need, I think that makes the most sense for both of them. Cooper Kupp's a tough one because he's a guy who, he's going to make the catches, but can he stay healthy? That's been the biggest question. So it's going to take a team that wants to kind of take a flyer on a guy, but it has to be somebody who already has some pretty established receivers. Depending on the money situation, don't be shocked if the Chiefs try to make a play on that. That just seems like a very Chiefs move where they bring in a guy like Cooper Kupp and kind of give him a second chance, second opportunity. They've kind of done it with DeAndre Hopkins as little as he's been on the field. But I think the Chiefs would maybe at the top of the list for me, depending on what happens on this Super Bowl. But Myles Garrett, Washington just seems like the right fit as far as that goes.
Yeah, I think it's Washington and Buffalo for me. And
I like that. Yeah.
As a Dolphin fan, I would hate for him to be a Bill because that means Tua's getting 6 more concussions. Because our offensive line can block anybody.
And he might get hit over the head with a helmet. You just never know.
That too. That's right. That's right. It's a good point. That's funny. Maximus, Titan fan?
Cooper Kupp, damn it, Link stole my answers. Cooper Kupp, I could see him definitely being a Chief just because the way they kind of treated DeAndre Hopkins this season. Kind of pull him in when they needed him, take him out when they don't. But another one I thought was interesting was the 49ers could maybe pick him up.
The Rams are not trading him to the 49ers.
The other one.
It's not like McNabb getting traded to I guess that they're called the Commanders now.
Yeah, as far as Garrett goes, Washington's obviously the one that makes the most sense. They got the most cap space. He's going to garner a lot of cap space. And he's 29, man. So he's wanting somebody that's in win now mode. And there's not a whole lot of teams in win now mode that can afford a player like Garrett. I don't think the Ravens can. I don't think the Chiefs can. I don't think the 49ers can. I mean, there's a lot of teams out there that I don't think can take on a contract like that. So
and you look at the
teams.
Yeah, but you look at the teams that can. Typically, the teams with the amount of cap space to be able to handle that aren't the teams that are in Super Bowl mode. I mean, that's just kind of the way it works out. So that's why I say it's going to kind of limit his choices because I don't know. I saw some statements he made. He was asked about playing in Tennessee. I don't know if that's true. I haven't verified that. But him basically saying they haven't built anything, and whether the statements are true or not, the fact is still true. I mean, the Titans.
I was going to say, yeah.
I mean,
what he said is true.
Yeah, again,
if he said it.
Right, but like I said before, you're not the one player. You're not a Myles Garrett away from competing for a Super Bowl. You've got a lot of other things you need to figure out first. So yeah, I mean, when you look at the teams that have the cap space, Washington is really the only one that I think could handle that contract and still work out a deal where he would want to play for him.
That makes sense. Parsons from the Cowboys said he would take less money earlier today. I saw the announcement. If he came to the Cowboys, that'd be a pretty formidable defense. Yeah. Not that Jerry Jones will spend the money because apparently he's broke. Apparently he's broke. I don't understand it. He's, he has a 80,000 square foot boat, but he can't afford any free agents. I don't understand.
Whenever the track for Jerry Jones.
Whenever I feel bad about how poor the Titans are, I just turn on some Dallas Cowboys radio and just listen to the phone calls and comments and radio because you want to talk about a dumpster. And look, they have a good team. They've got talent. On paper, that is a solid playoff contender every year in and year out, but just the organization as a whole just cannot figure things. I mean, you had the Dak Prescott deal, you bring back Zeke, they just can't make anything work on the field. You've got Jerry Jones, who kind of leads the circus week to week. You got people coming through on tours while players are working out. You got pieces of the stadium falling out of the sky. I mean, it is just an absolute crapshoot down there at the Cowboys facility. So, it could always be worse. That's just what I like to remind myself.
That's why I listen to Raider radio.
There you go.
Makes the Dolphins feel good.
Yeah.
And Jeremy, if you're listening, that was for you.
Now, I will say one more point before we get off that. I just want to make one thing really clear. Myles Garrett has requested this trade. Don't be shocked if the Browns don't want to try to deal him. I mean, he's still under contract.
Yeah, he is.
It has to be by an agreement by both parties. And if you look at the Browns, it's not like this hit him out of nowhere. I think they knew that he was going to end up requesting a trade towards the end of this year. And you had the owner come out 2 weeks before saying, I don't care if it's 2 first-round picks, we're not trading him. So that's something to keep eyes on too. I mean, just because a player requests a trade doesn't necessarily mean they're going anywhere. We saw the same thing with Ayuk this last season. So this may turn into one of those situations. I think right now what the Browns are thinking is we might try to call his bluff, see how serious he is about this before we even start taking phone calls.
Yeah, the NFL is not the NBA.
Exactly. Yep.
God, thank God, man. Yeah. I was gonna say, dude, all that's been on Twitter lately has been that trade that went on in the NBA, and I don't even watch basketball, so I don't know what the hell.
Hey, just it's been on the Undefeated Live too. So come on, guys, let's get this together. Yeah. That was a cheap. Yeah, my bad. All right, we're an hour in. Are you guys still good? I know it's late where you guys are. Me, it's only 7.
I'm good for a few more minutes. Yeah.
I was gonna say.
Okay, if we're gonna do a few more minutes, we haven't talked about the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm. Got to talk about it.
Which is coming up on Sunday. Are you excited?
No.
I will say I'm excited in the fact that I think it is going to be a good game. And look, history is going to be made one way or the other. I mean, you're either going to have a three-peat from the Chiefs, or you're going to have, this new Eagles team getting back in there and finding a way to get a Super Bowl and kind of knocking the Chiefs off. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm excited for it in that way of it. I think if I were putting money down right now, I think the Chiefs kind of have the upper hand. Not because it's fixed or anything, although, I don't fully discredit those rumors. But, I think the Eagles, they're kind of the up-and-comers. They're going to have to catch the Chiefs. I think 6 times out of 10, 7 times out of 10, this is a Chiefs game. But if you're Philadelphia, you come out, you start early, you hit them with the deep shots, you open up the run game with Saquon. I think they have a shot. So I think it'll be a good game, and just for that reason, I'm pretty excited.
Do you think Jalen Hurts can beat Eli Manning? I'm hoping. I'm hoping.
I don't know.
Is there a Tyree with a hat catch? I mean,
yeah.
So, Maximus Titan fan, what do you think?
Oh, I'll be honest with you, man. I hate anybody who wins all the time. That's why I just told you earlier,
nice.
I was a fan of the Bills.
That's good.
So, yeah, screw the Dallas Cowboys. I have a huge hatred for them just because they used to be.
They haven't won since 1995. So, what are you mad at?
Yeah, I know, but man, come on. Dude, because they beat the shit out of my Bills every single time they went. So, I have to have hate for them.
That is. Whoa. That's right. You're a Bills. That's right. Never mind.
Yeah, I was a Bills fan. Yeah, so I still carry a little bit of hate for him. But man, I'll be honest with you, dude. After the fucking videos come out of the Eagles fans treating the Washington fans like shit, and I'll be honest with you, dude. If I was that dude and that guy snatched my hat off, I would turn around and knock the fuck out of him. I don't know, though. They might have been surrounded by 50 damn fans, and maybe he was just trying to get the hell out of there in Philly. So, I can't. I don't want to root. I don't want to root for Philly. But then again, I just said I hate people that win all the time, so I don't want to root for Kansas City either. And I really hate Patrick Mahomes. My wife has a serious hatred for Patrick Mahomes. So damn it, I think I'm rooting for the Eagles. What?
Is that because of his wife or his brother or his dad who has 3 DUIs? Or
Oh no, I mean, yeah, there's a lot wrong with him, but mostly it's because he's constantly on fucking TV and she's tired of seeing him. I'll be honest, I don't know if that we can use this term, but she calls him tampon head.
Oh, that's funny.
I can see it.
I can see it too. That's actually funny. I have a new nickname for him. I call him McBaby or McFlop.
I like that. Yeah. There you go.
But yeah,
I got upset when I saw him with his shirt off after the fucking last Super Bowl, and I was like, dude, that looks like my buddy over here that drinks beer all the fucking time. How is that guy the best athlete in the NFL? Fuck this shit. This is all
he's
wrong.
not the best athlete. He's maybe the best quarterback.
Okay.
But
yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Just like Tom Brady. Tom Brady was
the
best quarterback, but he wasn't best.
Not a good athlete.
Yeah. Well, and that's where from my personal feelings, I cannot stand Patrick Mahomes, but I also can't stand Tom Brady. There's a lot of people that can't stand Peyton Manning. If you're one of the most hated players in the NFL, that means you're doing something right. I'll put it that way. So I mean, the dude can play. He pulls off some incredible stuff. Yeah, he might have a little help from the refs, but the only reason he has that help is because he can make those plays. He can get away with a lot of things. So yeah, I mean, for me, DeAndre Hopkins, wouldn't hate to see him win a Super Bowl. Wouldn't hate to see AJ Brown win one on the other side. So I try to find the silver lining in things, but you're not going to see me cheering.
That's 2 ex-Titan wide receivers. I didn't even think about that.
Well, if you didn't know, I'll let you in on the secret. If you ever want to be a great NFL player, just start your career at the Titans and then move on after 2 or 3 years, and you're guaranteed to at least make a Super Bowl, if not go to the Hall of Fame.
Nice.
Yep.
I like it.
That is facts.
All right, let's go with 2 more questions. Who will be the MVP of the Super Bowl?
Patrick Mahomes.
If they win.
Oh yeah, okay. I guess if they win,
let's do both. Yeah. So if the Eagles win, who do you think is going to be the MVP? I think that's pretty simple. I don't know.
Yeah, it's probably Jalen. Or no. I'm going to say Saquon Barkley. Yeah, I forgot about Saquon, man. Yeah.
No, I tweeted and did a take on Undefeated Live, if you guys are still watching, that Jalen would be the MVP if the Eagles win.
I could see it because they are quarterback happy in this league.
Well, and the reason I would say yes to that is because if the Eagles win, it's because Jalen Hurts had one of those games. Like he had an MVP game. That's the only way the Eagles win it. I mean, Saquon may come out and run for 160, but I don't know that Saquon running for 160 wins them the game. You're gonna have to make some plays through the air. You're gonna have to get AJ Brown involved. You're gonna have to hit the Chiefs downfield. So that's the only reason I'd agree with that is he would be the MVP if the Eagles won just because he had to be.
Right. And of course, Mahomes would be if Kansas City.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I'm going to play devil's advocate just a little bit to that because one of the teams that the Titans actually beat a lot with Derrick Henry and Mike Vrabel was Kansas City. And it's because we kept Patrick Mahomes off the field with our great running game. So if the Eagles are playing the smart card, they're going to be playing the running game, and Saquon Barkley is going to end up running all over the Chiefs. So that's why I say he was the MVP, but it very well could be Jalen Hurts.
All right, last question. Actually, I have a game. Do you want to do high-low of like props, or do you want to do advantage quarterback, who has the advantage on the game? I'll let you guys decide. If it's 50-50, I'll be the tiebreaker. I'll be like the vice president in the Senate. Be like, all right.
I like how about
you? You're like, hello? Guys? We'll go hello.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I was hoping you'd say that. All right. High low. Hurts 212.5 passing yards.
High. We are saying he's going to get more than that if we say high, right?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I like the over on that. I like the over. Yeah. I think he still has a good. I think I think this is going to be a shootout to an extent.
Well, it was last time.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Yep.
the Eagles would have won if he didn't. He would have been the
No
MVP
way.
if he didn't fumble.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. So I like the over on that. I like the high. I think that he's able to move the ball just like the Chiefs are able to move the ball.
All right, Mahomes or McFlop. 252.5 yards, high, low.
I'll take a low on that one.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Wait, I thought you guys. The good thing about you guys' podcast is you disagreed with stuff.
Well, we have
agreeing with things here.
we have those
What's going
moments.
on?
We have those moments, but I'll actually take the high on that one. I'll disagree with you there.
All right.
Yeah, I think that again, just for the same reason as Hurts, I think it's going to be kind of an offensive shootout. I think both defenses are going to kind of struggle to keep up with these quarterbacks. And I think Patrick Mahomes, I think most of his plays are going to be made outside the pocket, getting on the move, getting some of those rollout plays. So I like the high on that.
I think KC defense is going to score 1 touchdown, so that's why I say low on that.
All right, that's fair. All right, a couple more. Barkley, 1.5 rushing TDs.
High.
He's going to get 2?
Oh yeah, at least.
Well, if he gets 2, they probably win. I think.
Yep,
I agree.
Yeah,
when I say probably, they can't get close in the fourth quarter. I think they have to be up. So in my last podcast I was on, I said the final score, if the Eagles win, if they win, it's going to be 31-17 because they have to blow them out.
Yep.
If it's close in the fourth quarter, the refs might help and they'll kick a field goal, the Chiefs to win or get a holding penalty or whatever. But that's just me.
Yeah, and I like the low on that. I think he's a lock for 1 touchdown. I don't see him getting to that 2 mark just because of the simple fact of what kind of game it's going to be. I think you're going to see, and look, I mean, let's be honest, the Chiefs are one of the better red zone defensive teams. I think he's going to find some struggles trying to run inside the 20-yard line. I think Hurts is going to have to make some plays. He's going to have to be pretty elite through the air to be able to score in those short yardage situations. I think the tush push is going to be there a couple times, but I don't know if Saquon's hitting 2 touchdowns. I like 1. I don't like 2.
Gotcha. All right. Since this is a Titans, this will be the last one, a Titans podcast, or at least the majority. And A.J. Brown, does he get a touchdown? So it's either rushing or receiving 0.5.
Yeah, it's easy.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, for me, if I'm betting my money, I'm saying yes. He's gonna go over on that. I guess I'm over on everything. Damn.
Yeah, you're going big.
Yeah, we'll end on an agreement there because I definitely think he gets a touchdown in this one. I think he's going to be a big part of this game, win or lose for the Eagles. Yep. I mean, look, he's arguably the best receiver on the field when these two teams meet. He's going to have to be elite. I think he shows up in these situations, and if he thinks he wants more of those big bucks going forward, these are the types of games that he has to show up in. I mean, we just talked about how crazy these Eagles fans are. If he comes out and just absolutely flops and puts up 0 catches or has a few drops, I mean, they're going to come for his head. Same way they came for Byards, same way they came for a lot of people over the years. So
trade him back to Tennessee.
Yeah, I do think he shows up in this situation. I definitely give him 1 touchdown through the air. If the Eagles win this game, I think he's got to score 2. Like, I think he's got to be that type of player on Super Bowl Sunday to be able to give them a chance. He's got to be the best guy out there.
What about Devontae Smith? Nothing?
I'll say this. I think it's possible that A.J. Brown gets the bulk. I think if he gets 2 touchdowns, I still think Smith gets his yardage, but I think A.J. Brown, when you get into those, like I was just talking how Saquon's going to have these troubles in the red zone. If you're going to be successful in the red zone, you're going to be successful with A.J. Brown. The bigger body, the more physical guy, the guy who can make those contested catches on the edge of the end zone. So that's why I say, I think I could see him getting 2. And I still think Smith gets his yardage. I just think he's going to be one of those shot play guys. I don't think he's going to be that big of a factor from the 40-yard in.
Maximus Titan fan?
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with that at all, man. AJ Brown is one of the best contested catching receivers in the league. Honestly, I think that's probably the thing he does best is, using his physicality to body out people and get the better position and get the ball. There's been plenty of times I've seen him on a Titans field catch a ball in between 3 defenders, and it's no big deal, So, I mean, yeah, I feel like he at least gets 1 touchdown. I don't know about 2, though. That's pushing a little bit. I think Saquon gets the 2, and
he gets 2
AJ
and
gets 1.
Gets 1. Okay.
Yeah.
That's close to my 31. It's close. We need somebody else. Maybe the push tush, he gets 1.
There you go. Yeah,
Smith
maybe
gets 1.
Yeah.
Or the defense gets 1, pick 6, or the
Yeah.
special teams runs. 31 is the number. Remember that.
I like it.
31 is the
31.
number.
I've got it.
All right. Hey, guys, I really appreciate you guys joining me on the show. It was a pleasure. You guys are awesome. If you guys want to tell people where they can find you, your podcast, your X, your Undefeated Live. I don't think you guys are on it yet, but you guys got to download it. Let's go. Let's get it.
Yeah, I was gonna say
we're gonna be the new sports media. X can be the news.
I've
sports
downloaded the Undefeated Live app, and I'll be honest with you, I played around with it a little bit, not as much as I wanted to because I've had some family issues last couple months or weeks, but definitely going to get onto that, especially when the football season starts, because I can see how that could be really, really fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a really fun app. If you guys aren't checking it out, check it out.
Perfect. Tell everybody where they can find you.
Oh, man, with the Titans Global Podcast, you can find us pretty much anywhere you get your social media, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. YouTube's obviously where we want you to go. Like and subscribe us to YouTube. You can follow me personally at Maximus Titan Fan, Twitter and Facebook also. And link, go for it, man.
Soon to be at Undefeated Live. Come on. People can follow
soon
you
to be
Live.
Undefeated Live. Yeah. And if you want to find me personally, I'm Link Rogers, Facebook, Twitter. Haven't been too active lately. Just had a baby. We're a week and a half into this thing, so I'm still getting used to parenthood. But yeah, follow us there. Give us a shout. We do this at least once a week. When the season picks up, we're doing it twice a week. We just want to reach as many people as we can. We do this for free. Like I say on our show, this is for you guys. We do this for you and you only. I've loved doing it so far, and we would love for you to come check us out, get in that comment section.
Perfect. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks for having us on, man.
Anytime.